Episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I'm playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the Xbox and now Minecraft Bedrock for Xbox, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course destroying stuff. The destroying stuff is pointing at the big like kind of flattened land over there. It doesn't look so destroyed from here, but like if I go a little bit closer, you can see what I mean by it's very much destroyed. But anyway, in today's episode of the Let's Play, I'm not going to be doing anything that really fits into any of those three categories directly because I'm going to be building something by destroying something. So yeah, my Minecraft world is really old. I stress this way too often. I sound like an old man being like, back in my day, there used to only be 12 biomes and they all were basically the same. But no, that's basically how it was when I started this world. There's a few biomes you might recognize today, but most of them are kind of samey. And one of the things that kind of resulted from that is this huge forest right here that I've always kept because I feel like having a forest is useful, but it's such a bland forest that I sometimes just chop it down bit by bit as I go through. And I figured rather than doing one of these two things of just having a bland forest or having no forest, why not go for a nice compromise and kill the forest? That's right, today we're going to be trying to kill the forest, which sounds ridiculous, but the way we're going to be doing that is by using these shears and just kind of shearing up all of the leaves. Maybe we want to use those leaves actually. That might be a good idea, but yeah, mostly I just want to chop down the leaves because I feel like that's a fun thing to do, and I have enough iron from all of my adventures that we can do that. So yeah, while we do that, I'm going to be talking about some bad good ideas or some good bad ideas, because one of the things like my brain just comes up with these just all the time. I'm just like, like when I'm thinking, it'll be like, this would really improve the world, or this would really do the opposite of that, because one of the things about things that happen in the world, like there's a lot of, let's just say rules and laws, right? A lot of the rules and laws in the world seem entirely arbitrary. If you've ever been through security at any airport, it's like you can only have liquids up to 100 milliliters, and it's like, okay then, is that because we've worked out that 101 milliliters is the amount where you can like create a bomb? And it's like, well no, but I mean too many liquids is a problem, and it's like, but you can have as many containers of up to 100 milliliters as you like, and it's like, well, therefore we've just created a silly system. And it's like, stuff like that happens all the time in the world, where it's like, this is a rule that was came up with, not because it makes sense, but because it sounds like to someone plausibly it vaguely makes sense, and no one can really refute it. And again, in the case of like airport security, obviously it's security theatre, it's this whole own thing, but I wanted to talk about, good bad ideas for the world as a whole, as well as bad good ideas of like, things that would genuinely make the world better, even though they sound like they wouldn't, and I feel like things that sound like they would make the world better, but really would not. Also, I'm going to need a lot of shears as it turns out, so I guess we're going to pull out our iron, we're going to make a bunch of those, and then we can get into it after we've made like enough shears to not need any for a while. So we'll make 10 shears, or 5 shears I should say, with 10 iron ingots, because we won't need some for a while. By the way, this is my iron and my gold collection. I'm trying to get enough to make a mega beacon that I can carry around with me, because I figured that'd be kind of cool, right? Just to be like, oh yeah, I need a mega beacon, let's make one right now. At least that's how it sounds in my head. So yeah, let's just throw all my leaves in here for now. Let's chop this back up, and then let's make ourselves 5 shears, which seems silly to just make 5 all at once, but it's what we're doing here regardless. Oh, also, fun thing I've just learned, if you press Y, it doesn't make 5 shears, you have to make them individually in Minecraft Bedrock. Boom! Minecraft Bedrock, kind of exclusive feature. But yeah, let's go back to talking about bad good ideas, because I spoke about this whole the bus system in New Zealand last week, right? And one of the things about it that really drove me insane was the bus driver. Before I got on the bus, I put my bag under the bus before he verified I was there. He's like, oh no matey, that's a bad idea. You're going to want to take that off, aren't you? And I was like, okay then, I guess that might be a bad idea. You're right, I mean I could just take it off if it turns out I don't have a ticket, but I'm pretty sure I do. And then he verifies me like 2 seconds later. He's like, okay, you can put your bag back on. And he, and then he decides like, actually I'll do it. And he just throws my bag filled with like valuables and whatever, like throws it underneath the bus. And it's like, well that's clearly an objectively worse system. Like sometimes that was one of the things that made me go, there are so many things that could just be like mildly optimized in a better way. And yeah, honestly, what have I been up to this past week before we send you out bad ideas? Mostly just stewing over that one thing of like, oh, that guy, who's he think he is? But no, the real question to what I've been up to this past week, I went to Germany again. I like going to Germany a lot. It's one of those it's a really interesting country as a whole, like, because it's very familiar, yeah, from any English-speaking country. The English proficiency is great and high, at least in the major cities, which is always nice. But also, like, just in terms of like, well, I mean, German food, it's all like known to be like terrible, but I like terrible food. So like, as in like, like currywurst, there's really just like a curried sausage and like some curry sauce. But again, I love like German everything, just a little bit. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm weird. But one of the things I love about Germany is actually one of my ideas here, because I learned recently that it's actually illegal to take someone's shopping cart in Germany. And this is something I've always had the idea as a kid, like, you know how when you go shopping, people guard their shopping carts, at least a little bit, right? Sometimes people don't, but a lot of the time it seems like you do. Like, you always keep your shopping cart in your sight, and it's like, oh yeah, these are my things that I intend to buy, don't want anyone stealing those. And again, it makes sense if you do this on Black Friday or you do this on anything else, but yeah, a lot of people get really defensive about their shopping carts, and it's like, no one intends to steal from you, but what if we made it a common thing to steal from other people? Because honestly, like from shopping carts. Because let's be honest, one of the things that sucks about, so again, I'm a fairly new to this whole adulting game, I would say. But one of the worst things about shopping is how much time it takes, and how you know that, like, okay, they want me to be in here for like hours, so I buy all their stuff. I just want to get, you know, like basic food for the week. Like, I want to keep my shopping bill down. I want to spend as little as possible. They want me to spend as much. It's this whole like crisis of back and forth of you want to get some variety food, and they want you to just get lots and lots of everything. So yeah, I feel like the best solution to that is go into the shopping, supermarket. Wait till someone has like their, eyes the other way in a basket or a trolley, and then just kind of take it. If they say anything, say, "Oh, sorry, wrong trolley." And what are they gonna do? Be like, "Oh no, I reckon this was a theft. I'm gonna report you to the police." And unless you're in Germany, they can't actually do that. Even in Germany, like, imagine the police being like, "Oh, we heard there was a serious disturbance," and it's like, "Oh yeah, well, you see, this person stole my things from me." Also, I didn't realize how big of a task trying to shear off these trees would be, but it's actually looking pretty good already, in my opinion. It probably would have been faster just to chop down the trees and then replace them. Yeah, pro tip for the future, probably do that instead. Might go a bit faster than what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, so yeah, there's pro tips for Toy Cat. Steal other people's trolleys saves you the whole thing of the line. One of the other, like, this is really like unethical, but apparently it's a thing sometimes people do, is when you go to a movie theater, if you use the American word, or a cinema, if you use the correct word. I make so many like mini like accidental, well, not even accidental, just like fun digs at America in these videos. I love you really, America. But one of the things that one of the things I hear is a thing that's done is if you want to make sure there's no one sitting in front of you, because in a lot of cinemas they still don't have like assigned seating, they just only sell the same number of tickets as there are seats. But yeah, in a lot of places they'll just basically, if you want to stop someone sitting in front of you, which is so annoying, by the way, it's happened to me so many times. I feel like the best solution to that, and again, I'm never going to do this because to me it like breaks the norms and the rules of something. But if you're a bad person and you don't care about that, or you just had bad experiences and you want to keep people away, pour your drink, I guess, onto the seat in front of you. Because then people, even if they've paid money to sit there, they'll be like, "Oh, this seat is wet, it's terrible. Like, who didn't clean this? This is terrible." And again, it sucks. It's such a terrible thing to do on so many levels. But, I'm assuming if you're following through on this, you don't care about all of that. But it means that anyone will be like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to sit here," and they move on to the next seat. So boom, unethical life tip right there. Might encourage, I don't know what it would encourage, actually. Honestly, there are some situations where I think doing bad things is almost justified. Oh, God. I'm in a hole. Hey there, doggy. I didn't see you here. It looks like I'm actually trapped in here. But yeah, I feel like there are some situations in life where, like, not bad things, but, like, there's this weird grey line. Like, for instance, honestly, this will get me, like, banned from an airport somewhere, but I think bringing more than 100 milliliters of liquid into the airport, A-okay. I think, for instance, if you're, 17 and 364 days, buying alcohol, if you're living in a country where it's 18 to buy it, probably not the worst thing you do in the world, especially if you intend to be responsible with it. Like, we have lots of, like, blanket rules that exist just because it's like, well, we need to cover for, like, the craziest edge case scenarios. If you're not the edge case scenario, you can break the rules. Whereas something like that, probably a bad idea, but even though it's a terrible idea and you shouldn't do it, it would work out really well for you. So boom, unethical tips of Toy Cat. Is it a bad idea to share things that people could use in the wrong way? I've had this video idea for a really long time that I'm not going to make because I travel too much. But at least I don't want to make it in any way that can be linked to me. But I really want to make a video on like how to be a successful terrorist. And again, that's like, you hear that and you're like, oh my God, Toy Cat, this is the sign you need to take some crazy pills or whatever. You should not make a video on how to be a terrorist. But no, I really think like the whole, I think the history of why we do so much ridiculous stuff, both at airports and, in general around the world. Like, you ever consider, how ridiculous ticketing systems are and like stuff like for like metros and buses and stuff. You ever consider like all these ridiculous little, like all those laws I just mentioned. Like, why is it that you have to be 16 to do some, or like, why are there certain rules that apply at 16, certain ones at 18, certain ones at 21? Like, you can join the military. Oh, this is everyone's favorite line, right? You can join the military at 16, but you can't drink until you're 21, or it might be 18, 21, in America at least. There's all these weird rules of like, oh, and this thing is illegal forever, and this slightly less harmful thing is only illegal until you're insert age here. There's all these big things of like, this exists just because as an educated scenario, and I feel like teaching people about it is the best way to fix that, right? Like, for instance, as a good example, oh wow, as a good example, I feel like everyone knows that like smoking, as in cigarettes, is really bad for you, right? Like, if you do it, you're just inhaling smoke into your lungs. It's not as bad for you as people think, but it's bad, like people, the number of deaths that are caused because of it is it's somewhere astronomical. But I feel like, if you just taught people like, you can smoke one to 3 cigarettes and then it's, or like, in a week, let's say, and then it's fine. Anything else, then it's terrible. Like you could do like something terrible like that, and you could actually make a more compelling argument. I feel like the truth is always the best way to do anything. And that's why I want to make a video. By the way, I guess this is included in my bad good ideas video on how to be a terrorist. Just because if everyone knows that you can skirt the rules anyway, then either you make way more oppressive rules, which, can you even do that? Like, can airport security be more oppressive than it is right now? That sounds like a Friends joke or something. But I'm just being legit. Like, can you make it more? I'm not sure you can. And by the way, I'm going to make a chest for all of these because clearly my shulker box is just not doing the job quite well. So we're going to throw this on the floor here. We'll come back for it later. And even if we don't, like, what does it matter? Am I really going to use these leaves? Probably not, but just in case. I'm going to store them regardless. And then we're going to make ourselves a bunch of chests. Oh, we only have birch wood, so make 4 of these. Double chests. Yeah, we'll just make a double chest. I think that's probably just as good as anything else. And then we'll be good here. But yeah, I honestly feel like, again, definitely not going to make it. But I feel like if everyone knew, oh, this whole system isn't effective, then we can move on and have a better one. Or maybe the whole thing is like, it's all about safety. Like the reason you might think like, oh yeah, the reason you can't buy, I think you can't buy cigarettes at a certain age. I'm honestly not sure, that might vary from territory to territory, is because like, well, you gotta like satisfy the parents, make them think that their kids can't do something even if they don't know about it. And I think because of that, you almost have to admit at some point like, oh, we do some things just to feel safe. And therefore, what we should have is like a system where you have to at least, like, it's kind of like optional to do certain things. It's kind of like riding a, I think a really good example would be like, riding a bike helmet. A really good idea, but if you're riding on roads and stuff, I think bike helmets are ineffective, right? Okay, I recently rode on a road. I rode on a road, in New Zealand. More New Zealand stories. That's just all we're gonna do. From now to the end of time, it's just New Zealand stories. Because I love New Zealand so much. But one of the things is I rode a bike, and I asked like, oh, so do you legally have to ride these on roads? And they're like, oh yeah, roads or bike paths only. And it's like, well, that's, we all know people ride them on the pavement, but you want it to be like, well, you can't ride them fast on the pavement. The pavement is for pedestrians and, the sidewalk, sorry. Again, gonna get those Americanisms going on. But one of the things is like, bikes are only meant to go on the roads, just because like, you don't want people going fast and hitting pedestrians. People actually can die when a bike hits them, which is ridiculous in my opinion, but it is a genuine thing that happens from time to time. And it's like, okay then, that's fine. So we have to have, a rule that says everyone has to go on the path, just so we know that when you're on the path, you're breaking a rule, and you'll be a bit more careful about it, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of like where most of our rules come about. And I feel like we should just be more open about that in more places. Like, guess what? We're going to have a rule where if you go on, I don't know, like, what's a terrible thing people do? Bus people. If you, block the seat next to you, there's a chance that you'll get this thing done. Like, it's actually funny because there are so many terrible ideas that I really do think work. And one of them, for instance, is the amount of like time you get in prison for drunk driving, for instance. So drunk driving, one of the worst things you can do as a human being. If you're watching this, even considering drunk driving, don't do it. You're like, because the real reason is because you're endangering other people's lives. It's one of those things where like you can't bear the costs yourself of something. It's kind of like, if doing that thing at the movie theater, it would be fine. if it just meant that someone moved seats. But the reality is, the reason you shouldn't spill drinks is because it means that the cleaner at the theater, like someone's going to complain eventually, and then the cleaner's going to be like, get like bad stuff happening to them, or maybe just be yelled at because it's like, you should have cleaned this better. How could you leave drink on the seat? And they'll be like, I didn't, and it's like, the customer's right. We'll trust them over you on this, and the customer was right. And it's the sort of thing where it's like, well, that's a good reason why you should not do that, because the ramifications don't just affect you. And I think because of that, like drunk driving, if you do it, you won't get caught unless you're like really, really drunk. You won't get caught. But we need to say like, well, if you do, then this is going to be a problem. And in reality, like, I think sometimes if you're like, the paranoia. So this is the clever thing, right? Like, if you just made it legal to drive your car as intoxicated as you like, so many people would die because they'd be like, oh, I'm a safe drunk driver. But the truth is when you make it illegal and like if you get pulled, like caught, like if you make it so that people are actively looking out for people driving drunk, they'll actively pull them over. They'll make it a big thing. It's like the situation then becomes like, okay, if you need to drive drunk, you probably won't be caught statistically speaking. But if you do need to drive, you'll be so scared of being caught that you'll hopefully drive a bit safer. It's like a funny thing where like drunk drivers try way safer, try way harder, I should say, to drive normal than regular things. And I think because of that, you can kind of like affect people doing illegal things behavior. Like, you can't stop people breaking the law, but you can make people think, well, if I'm going to break the law, I want to be really careful about it. And that's almost just as good a thing, right? Same with the the shopping cart law. It's like no one's taking shopping carts, but knowing it's illegal makes you feel safer about leaving yours. Like, no one would take a shopping cart. One, because that's ridiculous, who takes shopping carts? But two, mostly because it's illegal. It's the same thing with murder, right? Like, have you ever actually wanted to kill someone? If you're watching this video and you wanted to kill someone, one, that's an interesting thought you have right there. But two, realistically, you probably haven't, right? Most people don't want to kill other people. It's not a normal thought to have. But we have like laws in place that are like, well, you gotta not murder people, because if you don't, the bad things happen. So yeah, I feel like we need to have more stuff like that. Like, we should make it so that if you're so I had a situation. I was at the airport recently. Someone sat, there was a row of four seats, at the airport next to the gate. I'm sat like towards the aisle, away from the planes. So I'm not even sat in like the best position. I'm sat in the worst position you can be, just because I want to be left alone. And then a guy comes over and he sits over and guess which seat. So again, there's a row of 4 seats. I'm at the end. There are 3 other seats, 2 of which aren't next to mine, and he sits in the seat next to mine. And this is a guy who's like coughing every maybe 3 seconds, something like that, which I don't know why. Like, I cough sometimes in public, and whenever I do, I feel like super bad about it. You shouldn't, because it's like natural ever, but yeah, it's important that we feel a bit rough about that. But he sits next to me and like just goes like, it seems like fake coughs even, where it's like this guy, he might be here to kill me. That might be his whole deal. And we need to have a rule where it's like, there should be a minimum spacing. Like, put up a sign that's like, minimum spacing will be enforced. If you don't, just some ridiculous penalty. Like, we will take away, you won't get served food on your neck. Like, pick some ridiculously tiny penalty. But just by having that there, it's like, and that's a sign we shouldn't do a thing. Or make it sound like everyone else is already doing the thing. Because there are certain, social signals that people catch on to. Oh, I got the stuff out. I didn't turn it into shears yet. So shears. The crafting menu is so laggy on Bedrock. Like, of all the things, like, the game runs really well most of the time, except in the crafting menus when it runs like literally nothing. But so yeah, there you go. There's my solution. Next up, another one I was thinking is like, because apparently we don't like the drugs, both legal and non-legal discussion. One of the things I think you should do, because in the majority of the world, the way they teach that you shouldn't do drugs is by saying it's illegal, you'll die. And I think for some number of people, not a lot, I'd say for like 10% of people maybe, that's like, oh wow, yeah, if you do drugs, you'll die and you'll go to prison, so they won't do them. But I feel like the best way to explain away drugs is to be like, look, drugs are expensive. Because one of the defining moments in why I realized, like, not only that I would never smoke, but like I would feel like an idiot if I did smoke, is when I saw like a breakdown of the price, and it's like, if you do it, even just a pack a day, Over like a week, it doesn't sound too bad, but over 20 years, that's a Ferrari. It's either a Ferrari or smoking, and I don't even want a Ferrari. Like, I don't even think, I'm not even a Ferrari guy, but I was like, if I could pick between a Ferrari or an item of Ferrari value, like it's basically winning the lottery just by not doing something. That was the thing that made me go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And given that, a lot of drug issues do happen with lower, I guess in like poor areas. I think that's a correct statement, right? But I feel like the best way to be, to explain like don't do drugs is like drugs are expensive, man. Do all of them that you like, whatever. They're not even that fun. But the price, like most drugs are, is this an okay thing to talk about? Guess what? We're doing it anyway. But most drugs are priced like by 50 of whatever measurement. Like if you want to buy like. Doesn't matter the currency, doesn't matter the measurement, doesn't matter the drug. Most things cost 50 for a gram, for an ounce, for whatever silly measurement you're using. And it's like, wow, yeah, that, at least the higher end stuff, it's like, oh my god, that adds up fast. 50 pounds, $50, what would you spend that much money on? How many things in your life do you blow that much on? Let alone a thing that you use for like an hour, and then that makes you feel bad afterwards, and then that also has like the other effects. But if you just focus on like, the price, if you bought one of these every single week for a year, or you didn't buy one, that's $2,500. You put that in a stock links index, maybe gaining 5% a year. You do that for like for what would that be like 22 years, and you'll have $250,000. Guess what? That can buy you a Lambo. Do you want to do Lambo or do you want to do drugs? And honestly, Lamborghinis are cooler than drugs, right? That's why most YouTubers these days have Lamborghini problems, not drunk problems. It's like, drug problems, sorry. Because like they're a cooler thing to do. Whereas I guess celebrities in Hollywood are known for having the drug problems. And I'm just saying, that should be like our new campaign. Just like, drugs are expensive, man. Because then at the very least, the other side effect is like that campaign might lower the cost of drugs, which one, if you're a drug user, is probably good for you, right? That's like economic stimulus 101. But two, I feel like most drug money goes, again, I don't understand the system well enough. I think it goes to fund terrorism in a very indirect way. Again, that's what my coder for my website when I was 12 told me. I don't know where I told that story recently, but I did. And it stuck with me forever. And we should explain the cost of more things away by being like, wow, that's just expensive. You don't want to do that because money can be used for like a great deal of things, like movie tickets or stealing people's shopping markets, stealing people's shopping trolleys, not markets. I mean, if you could steal someone's shopping market. Honestly, that's one of the wacky things to me. Like the whole idea of the deed of, what's it called? Like the deeds to the something. Like if you could take a document of someone, you would own their house, or like if you take the document and their keys. But I guess the reality is there's two copies. There's one kept somewhere in the local government, and the other reality is like if you want to steal something, a house is the worst thing to steal because like it's fixed in one place, and the owner can very easily try to get it back. Whereas say a phone, if you want to steal that, it has a GPS tracker, but you can very quickly get that uninstalled or turned off or whatever. And I know, just a fun little thing for you right there. Don't steal a house. But you could steal a house pretty easily. And I feel like, if you're going to steal something, it would be a fun thing to steal, right? Like, steal the keys to someone's house. Be like, what are you going to do? You're going to try and get, like, a locksmith around here? I'll shoot the locksmith. Hey, yeah, how are you going to deal with that? And then, like, demand some ransom, maybe. Or, I'm going to go back on this. Stealing a house is a bad idea. And you shouldn't do it to fund your drug habit. Because you shouldn't have a drug habit, because that's expensive. There we go. Tied it in to a perfect cycle. But yeah, one more other thing I was thinking is, like, the best way to explain away so one of the things I want to do, or I would love to do, again, I'm probably not going to do this, unlike a lot of the other things I say I'll do, like how to be a terrorist guide, which, again, sounds terrible. I swear if I have made the video, it would be legit, I hope. But one of the things that, okay, so we're going to, I think we can get over there. I want to get, like, the start of the forest dead, at least, because then you can at least see the concept better, I feel like. But yeah, so one of the things one of the things that I'd love to do, but like probably will never get around to because there's better qualified people, and I think it's a whole genre of YouTube channel now. But like just basic financial advice. One of the simplest things you can do, I feel like, to improve people's lives. One of the biggest reasons that like there's a gap between, I guess, rich people and moderately rich people and somewhat rich people. I feel like the biggest gap between those three categories is, and even like if you just have some amount of money at any point in your life, if you want to go from being not rich to being almost rich, or to being quite rich, or to being very rich, I feel like the simple tip is like, guess what? All you gotta do is make sure that you're on the right side of interest and not the wrong side. There's this basic concept in, again, I'm explaining something really basic, but just like, trust me on this one. So interest is just, if you want to buy money, you basically, you want to buy money earlier than you'd otherwise have it, you pay interest. If you want to sell money and get it back later, you gain interest. So if you have $1,000 now, John wants $1,000 now, and he'll pay it back to you later. So you don't have it for a year. He gives it to you. Then you pay him $100. Simple interest. We all understand it. I'm just explaining that money is like, interest is the price of money. If you can sell your money and make interest on it, then you'll be on the right side of interest your whole life. And because whenever you need to borrow money, you borrow it from yourself, and you can lend money to yourself for 0%. So boom, it's kind of like a double win right there. And that's like the simple single principle of like, if the less debt and the less interest you can pay of your life, the more you'll have over your life to spend on yourself. Because even if you earn, I think there's like the silly statistic of like, even if you earn whatever the minimum wage is, you earn close to a million over your life. Again, if we're talking about major Western countries here. Sorry if you live in Senegal. I think that's a country in Africa. I'll look it up sometime. I don't, again, the African countries, like, I know like most of them around the edges. But one of the areas I have issues is like differentiating between. But anyway, that's one of the things that I feel like, just easy lesson right here, is like money costs money. Try to be on the right side of that money costing money, and then the whole world gets a little bit better, not only for you, but also for everyone else. And I feel like the best way to explain that would be like, okay, so think of yourself as an infinite series of yous, or think of yourself as like a you every day for your entire life, to make things simple. So how many days do you live in a life? Like 365 by, what, like 80? So there's 24,000 yous. Did I do that right? Yeah, roughly 24,000 yous, maybe 30,000, maybe 20,000, maybe 10,000 if you die super young. But there's going to be like tens of thousands of yous, and you can decide whether to give money to future you or take money from future you. And at any point in that thing, if you give more money to future you has more money, and that's and like also then the money affects tax on. And although that's not going to make you like a billionaire if you're making minimum wage or whatever, or it's not going to make you, and even if you spend money recklessly and you're a billionaire, you won't go back down to only having $17,000 or whatever. But it is the sort of thing where it's like, that one tip, that one thing of just explaining, there's a lot of views. Do you want to give money to future you, or do you want to take it from future you? I think that explains like all of the financial stuff that goes on. The big worldwide issue of like, guess what? We have all these pensions that are being funded by younger workers, but there aren't enough younger workers, so at some point those younger workers aren't going to be funded in their pensions. That's the whole thing of like, should future you pay for something, or should current you pay for something as a society? Like, oh wow, scary dope. It's a big issue. It's a big thing, and yeah, that's my simple thing right here. If you take one thing from any of these videos ever, I really want it to be like the one thing I feel like they'll make you as a subscriber, your life better. Even again, it's probably worse for me as a creator, because it means you might have less money to buy those toy cat pillows or whatever. But yeah, it's the one tip I'd always say is like, pro tip, give, if you can, don't take money from future you, and if you can, give it to him. And that sounds so basic, but like, again, it's like the drugs thing where it's just, you have to be like, man, that adds up real fast. Don't get a drugs habit. Get like an addiction to literally anything else really. Like you could go like, given the price, like my entire flying habit is less than the price of drugs. I'm just saying. Do you want to go to New Zealand, or do you want to get high? That should be like an advertising campaign for New Zealand. I've always thought this, so another bad idea right here, except it's a good idea. So I learned that WWE recently. I watched it at the tiniest amount as a child, and I was confused that there was two separate brands. There was wrestlers you would only find in one brand, and there was wrestlers you'd only find in the other one. SmackDown and Raw. I think that still exists. But yeah, so I looked into that and I was like, that's kind of odd. But it's the feud that keeps things going. The whole reason that you know about Jake Paul or it's not because like, oh, they make such high quality videos, right? That's not the reason. Like that's not the reason. The reason is because of these huge feuds. The way YouTubers collab these days is by getting in drama. That's why, again, something like a boxing fight you might know about. All these sorts of things are widely known about. Also, do I even have a shovel? I should do. Oh, there it is. So yeah, all these things that are widely known about, they're known about because the most successful way to do this stuff in 2018 is to kind of have, I guess it's always been to have feuds. That's how like bands get famous. That's how rappers got famous. And one of the things I think advertisers should totally do is use that same formula, but with like other random brands. So for instance, it's in Pepsi's best interest, I feel like, to just start slandering Coke as hard as they can. Like, you're not one of the, like just have an ad that's like Pepsi and Coke on screen. One of these two brands tastes like horse urine, and one of them is, has the French flag on it or something. Like, make fun of yourself at the same time, so like it doesn't even make sense that you're mocking them. Stuff like that, it's great. That's why people love Wendy's. Like, I love Wendy's, just because of their stupid Twitter account. And I also think, the smart first move is to go into feuds with other brands, because then you polarize people and you make them both love the thing more. That's how politics works, right? Like, the last US presidential election, it wasn't people voting for a candidate, it was people voting against the other guy, or other human being. People always put down elections, especially two-party elections, as like, wow, I can't believe 50% of the country supported insert other person here. And it's like, no, they supported anyone but your person. And that's like a really successful way. Like, it's a lot easier to make people not hate you than it is to get people to like you. And if they're exposed to you through someone or something that they do like, then it's a symbiotic relationship, I guess. But I feel like the way more fun example of this, because that's actually good marketing. But the thing I think, there's legal reasons, you have to be careful about it. But one of the things that I would love to see, and I really, really genuinely believe we should totally see, is just random companies deciding, you're not gonna get in a feud with them. So for instance, like New Zealand being like, don't do drugs, come to New Zealand instead. Just like, just show a picture like, this is what your local weed dealer looks like. Does he deserve your money? Or like, does this deserve your money? And that's a picture of like a beautiful sunset. And again, given that like the way social media works, and it only shows you like the hottest of stuff, that genuinely might affect some lives. And in the same way, have it be like, Ford is going to get in a rivalry with, Tide. And it's like, why buy Tide products? Like, it's people. Let's be honest. You only buy the pods because you secretly want to eat them. But a Ford car, you don't want to eat that at all. And it's like, what is this? This doesn't even. Oh wow! Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh, what's happening right here? Am I gonna die? Okay, I'm not gonna die. This is an experience. I didn't realize I had a hole right here, but apparently I do. Fun facts of Toy Cat. But Ford should just get like why don't we take for instance, let's take a famous World War. Even like for instance, Iceland, the supermarket, and Iceland, the country. You don't know the supermarket Iceland if you don't live in the UK. They're going for like a huge copyright battle as to who can legally use the name Iceland and stuff like that. It's beautiful. I think it's like that is what we need more of, because that's what people enjoy, and also because it'd be funny if it's just like Minecraft. The obvious war is like, Minecraft and the other game that is now popular with the same YouTubers, whether that's like Fortnite or Roblox or whatever game is popular at the time. But why not be, Minecraft? We're going to take a stand against, maybe just a random country. Like, Brazil? Screw you, Brazil. I love you, Brazil, but Minecraft might not. Or why not be something like, the Rubik's Cube company? Or Mattel. Actually, wait. They have a brand partnership with Mattel. These are all bad examples. Minecraft is it's probably a hard one to pick. But just, Minecraft be like, this milk company. I can't actually think of any, like, famous worldwide brands off the top of my head. Heinz. Minecraft should just be like, Heinz? Screw you. You're running your business wrong. And, it's inefficient. And, rather than eating Heinz products, play Minecraft instead. And just, I'm just saying, like, the new, it's like the recent trend for like artists is to release their album without any promotion. Hans, a solo Star Wars movie. Solo, a Star Wars. Whatever. It's in there. They released that movie without a trailer because they know that works as its own form of marketing. Because I think it's known, like, well known that word of mouth is the best form of marketing. And given that you can just like write a tweet, like New Zealand can just write a tweet insulting your local drug dealer, and that will go viral. Minecraft just has to make one tweet saying, Heinz beans. Not as good as the brand new aquatic update, and suddenly you're like, oh, there's an aquatic update. So anyway, with that said, maybe I'm just like turning into a marketer now. Maybe I've been a marketer this whole time. I did actually study business for like 5 years or something. I never learned any real lessons though, such as wrestling and Minecraft have a lot to learn from each other. And also, I never learned that you can't steal from someone's shopping trolley in Germany. Which, the reason for that, by the way, in case you're curious, it sounds like a ridiculous German law, but it's because a contract, the purchase of goods is like 3 parts of a sale, and the intent to buy the sale is what you're putting in your cart. And if someone steals your intent to buy, that is like a problem. But anyway, just so you know, fun facts of Toy Cat. Hope you'll enjoy this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. I didn't realize how long it would take to chop down the forest, so we'll work something out regarding that. But for now, I guess I'll see you all in 200 and 360. Oh, wait, no. Reminder. Okay, this is terrible. This is the worst ending to a Let's Play ever. Let me just quickly remind you that I have actually sorted, with the help of Hamish Arb on Twitter, I have actually sorted all of the Let's Play episodes into one huge playlist. If you want to see all the Let's Plays all in one place, and in case that's not good enough for you, like, you know what? I'm not sure I do want to see all the Let's Plays in one place. You know what? I'm going to quickly just pick on a brand right now. You know Nintendo? They're way worse than an IBX Toy Cat video. Rather than playing any Nintendo games. No, actually, let's pick a specific one. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Way worse than the Minecraft Let's Play series. Come check this out, because it doesn't suck. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.